Absolutely. That sounds like a big but exciting step. So essentially, you're looking at choosing the first real brand or client that UMC is going to focus on automating all of the multimedia and social media processes for. In terms of prioritizing, a good approach is to think about which client or brand has the most immediate impact or the clearest target audience that you can define. That way, you can get a quick win and really see how the automation plays out in practice. So if you and Martins want to go over the possible brands and pick one that aligns with your goals, whether it's the coalition, the co-op, or another internal or external brand, that's a great place to start. And of course, I'm here to help you walk through any of the steps once you've chosen which one you want to dive into.
Cool. Let me just, I'm going to give the brand chart to Vivra so that can see
Okay.
what's going on here, and then we'll just go through the bar chart together. So let's see.
Okay.
So upload photo.
I'm going to go to right away.
Did you have any questions for Vivra?
Yes, not for now. Not for now.
Okay.
Actually, I guess 15 minutes. Just start.
So I think the best way to move forward here.
Okay.
So I think the best way to move forward here is to take our current like overall possible list of clients that we want to focus on for UMC, and let's just narrow it down to like our top 3, 4, 5. Like let's just get a list of the ones we really think are possible. So for example,
Okay.
obviously UET
Okay.
and the umbrella token is a huge possibility. The coalition is a huge possibility, right? And the co-op is a huge possibility. Are there any other brands that we want to take seriously and consider at this time?
The next one, I think, okay. SVG.
Ooh, yes, SVG is definitely good. SVG is kind of similar to the co-op, but yeah. Any
Rana Hub.
Which one?
Rana Hub.
The Orana Hub. Okay,
Yes. UNC, I think we are okay with that.
cool. Oh, did you say you do want to choose UMC or not?
Yes, I'm choosing UMC. UMC.
Okay, so UMC. All right.
But the problem with coalition is that there is no fund for it, as well as SVG. No fund has been
Well,
assigned yet.
that's not completely true. Like the coalition is the vortex basically, and we are assigning funds to it, right? We're basically it's our new um, budget for we have a new budget for that, which is for the operations budget, right? So the coalition is the operations budget. So this is gonna have like I don't know $3,000 of operation costs. UET has an initial $3,000 plus an additional $10,000. The co-op basically has nothing. SVG nothing. Activity, we can easily budget, $500 to $1,000 for activity. Arana Hub would be under SBLC. So Arana Hub and SBLC are basically kind of together. SBLC. So this would be $3,000, and then in the future $10,000, and then the same thing with UMC. We have $3,000 now, and then $10,000 in the future.
Okay.
So let's say this is 500 now, 1,000 after. So Vivra, what do you think? Looks like Vivra's not working. Let me try resetting.
Viva is not okay. Or does Viva need to be updated too?
Well, everything always needs to be updated, but this should work. It's just it was working before. Let me just try resetting. Hi, Vivra, are you there? Vibra? Huh. Well, maybe it had something to do with I uploaded that picture, yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
your voice isn't working. Is there a reason for that? Okay. Let's try again. Hello, are you there? Vibra? Maybe it's just too much background noise. Why don't you try muting?
Okay, I'll do that.
All good here. It might just be the switch between voice and text modes that's causing a little confusion, but I'm definitely here and can keep going in text. If you do want to switch fully to voice again later, we can just re-enable that and get back to chatting out loud.
Okay, so you're here, Vibra. It looks like the problem was that Martins was not on mute and it was just bringing too much noise, and so you were listening too much. So I think the voice is working again.
Okay, cool. I'll reduce the background noise.
Absolutely. I'm here and ready to go. If everything's working smoothly again on your end, we can just dive right back in and keep things rolling.
Cool. So Vibra, did you have any thoughts on what brands we should select for our first client?
Definitely. Looking at that priority list you shared, I'd say starting with the UET tokens or the coalition is a smart move. Both of those are top priorities and well funded, which means they give you a strong start and a good foundation. So we can definitely pick one of those and go from there.
Is she suggesting coalition over UMC token?
Well, I don't know. It just was suggesting some of these. So, anyways, let's do the new table for. It wasn't particularly giving any different ones, so let's give the new table and then go from there. So let's see here. I'm going to upload the new table with all of the actual amounts of money. Okay, Vibra, so that table has like all of the general estimated amounts of money for each clients for overall. Yeah. So what do you think? Why don't we do a prioritization round? Maybe we should prioritize and vote. That make sense, Martins?
Yes. Excellent.
So Vivra, did you have any other final thoughts before we vote?
Absolutely. So just to sum it up before you vote, prioritizing the coalition first makes a lot of sense since it's fully funded and more straightforward. After that, we can move on to something like UET once we secure a bit more budget. That way you're tackling the easier win first and using that momentum for the bigger projects. Let's go ahead and lock in the priority based on that.
I mean, that's a good point. You know, like the UET token is really the focus, but the coalition would be a lot easier to set up than the UET token per se in terms of it just being. I mean, I think they're all kind of equally difficult, but the coalition is a little bit more. I don't know, just straightforward. It's kind of like a copying, whereas the UET token, we have to create a whole new thing that we've never really done before. I mean, we've done it sort of before, but it's different. So,
Okay.
anyways, shall we go ahead and vote or what?
Let's go ahead and vote.
Okay, cool. So, so Vivra, you're gonna want to give us a number from 1 to 9 on each of these brands. Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely, let's do it. So for each brand, I'll just give you a quick priority rating from 1 to 9. I'd say for the coalition, let's give that a solid 8 because it's straightforward and well-funded. For UET tokens, let's put it at a 7 since it's important but a bit more complex. And we can rate the others similarly. After that, you two can decide based on those numbers.
Okay, so Bivra, you don't want to vote on any of the other ones, just the first two?
We can absolutely cover them all. I just started with those 2 highlights, but let's go ahead and rate the rest as well. For example, Orana Hub might be around a 6, and Co-ops maybe a 5. We'll just give each one a number so you have a full ranking to work with.
Okay, so how about SVG, Ativity, and UMC?
Sure thing. Let's fill in those as well. For SVG, let's give it around a 6 since it's got some funding but is a bit in the middle. Ativity might be a 5 because it's a smaller scale. And UNC, since it's got a decent amount of funding and is a core piece, let's put that at a 7. That way you have a nice balanced priority list and can see where each one stands.
Okay, so that definitely prioritizes the coalition as the top priority, and then number 2 is UET. Okay, and then number 3 is Ativity. Yes, Ativity is number 3. Barely. All right. So the reason why I like Ativity is because it can umbrella a lot of other projects so that you have one brand for a lot of different things. I think either way we still need a separate brand for the umbrella token itself, but UET itself can actually be embedded into Ativity, whereas the token has to be its kind of its own thing. Anyways, this looks great. So I would make a proposal that we would start with the coalition, move on to the umbrella token, and then go into Ativity. And then from there, what's number 4? It looks like number 4 is UMC and then SVG.
Exactly. That sounds like a solid plan. So we kick things off with the coalition, then roll into the umbrella token as the next step, and then leverage Ativity for its flexibility to connect a bunch of different projects. After that, we've got UMC and SVG in the lineup as well. So that way you've got a nice phased approach and everyone's clear on what comes next. I think that gives you a great structure to follow.
Cool. So yeah, I think we're looking good. I think this is a good prioritization, and I also like that it creates a pipeline, it creates a prioritization plan that we can continue to follow, right? We don't need to stop at just the coalition or the umbrella token. We can keep going into Ativity and UMC and then go into the co-op with SVG and the co-ops, right? So we'll get to the co-ops. It's just a matter of like, okay, let's get our funding secure and stable first and then go into the co-ops.
Okay.
So what do you think, Martins?
You said it. Okay, I'm okay with it. I'm just excited in getting it started, coalition, then.
All right.
Absolutely. That sounds like a really practical and motivating approach. I think having that sequence, coalition first, then the umbrella token, and onward, gives you a clear path to follow. And you're totally right. Once the initial stable funding is rolling in and those first projects are in place, it's going to be much smoother to expand into the co-ops and other initiatives. So I'd say let's go ahead with that plan and you'll be in great shape to move forward step by step.
Okay. So any questions on the proposal? Basically, we're going to start with number 1, coalition. And then we're going to go on to the other ones, but we'll start with the coalition, and then we'll end up with, each one will do a client setup, a UMC client setup, and then we'll go through the implementation. So it's good to note this is separate than a SVG client setup, right? This is the UMC client setup. So each of these also goes through the SVG client setup as well. Anyway, so are there any questions?
No question.
Was that a no?
Yes, no question. Yes, no question.
Okay. Did you have any questions or concerns, Vibra?
No.
No concerns here. It all sounds like a well thought out plan. We've got a clear order of priorities, and each client setup will flow from one to the next. So from my end, we're good to go. Let's just dive in and start with the coalition as planned.
Are there any objections?
No objection. No objection.
Perfect. Sounds like we've got full alignment then. With no objections on the table, we can go ahead and consider this plan officially adopted. Let's move forward and get started with the coalition.
All right, so the coalition will be our next topic. So do you want to get the coalition topic set up?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. We'll get the coalition topics lined up and ready to go. That way, when we dive into the next session, we'll have everything in place to start tackling the coalition setup smoothly. Let's do it.
Okay. Coalition. I think it's a coalition media setup. Okay, you're taking that. Get started. That is topic 2, right?
Yeah, this is topic 2. All right, so now we need to go back to the client system. So let's see. So this is the UMC client profile itself. Overall automation plan, scope. Man, how do we automation plan.
All right, so now we'll just shift back to the client systems overview and weave the coalition right into that automation plan. Essentially, we'll slot the coalition into that second topic, finalize the overall automation scope for them, and then we'll be all set to start bringing their multimedia systems to life. Let's dive in and make it happen.
Okay, so this is what we want to focus on here. So we have topic 2, and what we want to focus on is the UMC client automation pipeline. So basically the pipeline starts with the internal setup, right? So we are doing the preparation, the docs, the hosting, the templates, like getting everything set up for the client, and then we do the client intake. What is the client profile, the contacts, the goals, getting everything clear about what it is that we want to achieve with the client. So the main question here is I thought I had already set up like UMC client intake. I thought I had already set that up. UMC quick training guide, build a website with no. Don't see anything. So we might need to either recreate that or they might be under Vibra. Let's check. So Vibra. No, nothing. So the only other possibility is it could be under a separate account. Sometimes they get lost in here.
All right, got it. So if we don't have that UMC client intake guide already set up in the current files, no problem. We'll just recreate it or set up a new quick guide so we have a clear client intake process in place. That way we can move smoothly from internal setup to actually onboarding the coalition as a client. I'll help you piece that together so we have all those steps laid out.
So this is what we have so far. Okay, so let's put together a guide real quick for the client intake because it does look like we do have a lot for the client intake. We just don't have an actual guide yet. All right, so let's build the guide real quick. And
the other time when we worked on this, I created work organizing responsibility training spreadsheet. It could that serve as the document we need?
No, we want to be more professional and organized than that. So I think we need a different topic. So I would say that the topic 2 is going to be would be to create this guide first, right? So topic 2 would be the guide. So we need the UMC client intake training guide for Vivra, right? So basically set up the client intake training guide. Okay, so that should be very easy and quick. We should probably do it in like 12 minutes to be fast. So we just want to make sure everything is automated for the future, and so the training guide is just making sure that Vivra can replicate over and over and over again, so that's all automated.
Let me put the topic tab.
Yeah, so let's do that first, then we'll get into the coalition. So I thought that it was already done, but we haven't done that. We have a lot of data, so I'm going to just work with Vivra really quick, get that all set up, and it will just take a few minutes. It's pretty fast, okay? So I'll say here, Vivra. So Vivra, we need to create a full UMC client intake training guide for you and future instances. Let's take all the information we know and make a perfect guide. Uh-oh. Hold on a sec. I'm going to get this. Hello?
I'm a bit bad. So we're not done, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be done like early because the game is almost over.
Okay, so like 9?
Probably, yeah. So I mean, I guess I'll just call you or something. But
all right. Okay, well, I'm just in the middle of doing some work, but yeah, I'll check in about a half hour.
All right, I'll give you a call.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
All right, so I only have one more I only have one more segment here, so let's not take a break. I gotta get going soon. All right, so basically we're doing this intake guide. What we want is we basically want the most important part is the interview. So the interview with the new client should cover all the questions and information necessary to get lots of details about everything the client needs for their multimedia. So you should make a bunch of questions, and then we can improve the questions when we learn more about the client, right? Okay, so let's get all the information that we need. So this is the client intake information, and then we have the client intake process. Copy, paste, okay. And then we have, this is the pipeline, automation pipeline. Boom. All right, so I think that is automation. No, it's my integration of UT tokens. I think that's everything that we need. Okay, yeah. All right, so this should be just a first version of the plan. It's not going to be the best, but it'll be for a good training guide to get us started. All right, here we go. Excellent direction. This is exactly what UMC needs. A complete client intake and multimedia planning framework that can scale, automate, and standardize how you have client relationships. Here's the first draft.
Okay.
All right, so purpose, internal setup, client profile interview. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Automation executive pipeline. Perfect. Yeah, so this is not, it's not everything, but it's just a good start, So anyways, we don't need to actually upload this because it literally just created it. So this should be good enough to get started. So then the next thing we would do is that our first client is Coalition, right? So Coalition for, coalition.community brand, right? The coalition brand, coalition, we'll just say coalition brand, right? So we want to give as much information as we can on the coalition brand and what it is and how it works. So the best way to do that would be to give it the website, but I don't know if it can actually access the website. I'll put on web search mode here, and this is the website. This is the website to give you a quick overview of the new client and help target the questions for the interview we are about to start. So the website is coalition.community. So let's see, it probably is not going to be able to see the website, but we're going to hope.
You should be able to see.
It says searching the web. Great, thanks for sharing the website of New Coalition Brand. This gives a foundation to build on. Here are the 5 tailored intake questions. What is your current primary website domain example, and how would you describe it? This doesn't make any sense at all. So I don't know if I was able to see the website. Were you able to see the website? So I'm sure it's not going to have been able to see the website. Oh my God, and now it's trying to. I wasn't able to access it. Yeah, so it can't access the website, which is just so annoying. It might be able to access it with the agent mode, right? So try to access the website with your desktop setup. It's going to take a really long time. We don't have time for that. Let me just copy and paste some stuff. So coalition.community. Let's just, you know, this is really short website. There's not a lot going on here. So if I just copy the website and I put it in, I think that's going to be more than enough information, right? And then I go to the About page and copy that. Boom. And then anything else? Values could be good, right? Values. Okay. Okay, so this should be enough to get a basic idea of the coalition brand and client. So let's get started with the voice interview now, and you so I will turn the voice on.
Please, can you share your screen?
To respond. Cool. All right. Yes, I can share my screen. What exactly do you want to see on my screen? Just the whole thing? Okay. So we got the website all organized. We're good. So understood. I reviewed all the text you provided from the coalition site, the brand center, decentralized organizing, global solidarity, anti-plutocratic activism, transparency. Yes, beautiful. All right, cool. So now we're ready. All right, Vibra, we are ready. So we want to go through the client intake. So we did the internal setup, and now we're ready for the client intake and building the interview and all the questions. Oh no, I forgot something very important. This is why we need Flow. So I forgot to set up the transcript. I forgot to do the transcript.
Recording in progress.
All right. So there's the transcript. All right, so now we have the transcript. Good. Oops. All right, Flo, you want to take it from here?
Absolutely, I'll jump in from here. Now that we've got the transcript rolling, let's structure the intake interview. We'll dive right into some key questions for the coalition. We'll cover their goals, how they envision their messaging, what platforms they want to focus on, and how they feel about integrating automation into their outreach. So let's get started, and I'll guide you through each step.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Glad to help you get that organized. Let's keep things rolling smoothly from here.
Yes, so what would be the beginning of all the questions for the interview?
Absolutely. Let's start from the top. We'll kick off with a few foundational questions like asking them to clarify their main communication goals, who their primary audience is, and what kind of tone or style they want for their messaging. Then we'll dive into which platforms they want to focus on and how comfortable they are with automation. From there, we can get more detailed. Let's jump right in.
So Martins, can you please mute when you're not talking?
Okay.
Did you have any initial questions, Martins, or? We have very little time, Martins. So, okay. So can you please start the interview, Vibra?
Absolutely. Let's dive in. To get started with the interview, let's ask the coalition about their core communication goals and their target audience. We'll keep it simple and then build from there.
Okay, so the Coalition for Decentralized Movement Organizing will have a primary audience and communication goals of, I think there's two sides. One, connecting with existing decentralized organizing around, the strikes and around connecting with protests and boycotts and peace organizing. So we have a lot of existing collaborative organizations that we want to connect with. So that would be the first step. And then the second step, obviously, is just making sure that our sessions that we have and that we record and rebroadcast, we're going to have these like 2-hour videos, and we're going to want to condense them into snippets that can then be put out on social media to just like people at large who are interested in organizations that are actively organizing for supporting strikes, as well as supporting protests and collaboration for new democratic systems and cooperatives and new economic models. So we just want to make sure that all of our meetings and activities and information, slogans, ideas are just being presented to the public for people who are interested in just new innovative ideas and even potentially might want to get involved and come to future meetings. Check.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. So we can frame the initial intake questions around those two big priorities. We'll ask them about which existing decentralized groups or movements they want to connect with first, and then we'll dive into how they want to turn those long recordings into those social-friendly snippets for a broader audience. We'll keep it all straightforward and focused on those goals.
Okay, and Vivra, just so you know, like you are asking me in the interview right now with me and Martins, so you don't have to say that you're going to ask the coalition in the future. You just ask right now. So just ask the question, and then I'll answer you, and Martins can help.
Got it. I'll just jump right in and treat you as the coalition.
Exactly.
Perfect. Let's dive right in then. So first question for you both as the coalition. When it comes to your main communication goals, can you tell me a bit more about the specific decentralized movements or groups you want to connect with first? And then we'll move on to how you want to shake those longer recordings into those short social clips.
Okay. So if you go to our main website, you'll see that some of the main branches we have is like strike, protest, boycott, co-op, mutual support, peace. So for example, the peace, we would want to do like an automated research of just like finding organizations that are actively involved in peace initiatives, or finding organizations that are actively involved in strike initiatives, and just doing automated email messaging or communications with potential organizations based on their contact availability on their website. It could be like a contact form or something. So we just want to automate connecting with existing organizations that are part of our umbrella.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. So we'll definitely include a focus on automating outreach to those existing groups, like peace organizations, strike groups, and so on, just to streamline that initial connection. And then we can definitely build in that automation layer to reach out via contact forms or emails. Perfect. We'll add that into the plan.
Great. So what's the next question?
All right, next up, we'll focus on how you want to handle those long recordings. So for the coalition, after we have these big sessions, do you have a preference on the style or length of those snippet clips that you want to share on social media? Basically, how do you want to shape those snippets for the public?
So basically, we just don't want to think about it at all. So we do the session is over. For the follow-up of the session, everything will just be transferred over to UMC. So you'll get all of our screenshots, all of our notes, all of our transcripts, all of our audio recordings, all of our video recordings, and you just basically have the full media package of everything that we have created during the session. And then we just don't want to think about it. We want it just all to be completely rewritten and recreated and updated and presentable to the public. It doesn't matter whether it's audio, text, video, or pictures, or if it is new generation, or it's just little snippets, or whether it's 30 seconds long, 1 minute long, 5 minutes long, 20 minutes long. It just is whatever needs to happen. We just don't want to think about it. We don't want it all to be automated. The click of a button, ideally.
Got it. That's crystal clear. Basically, you want a fully hands-off approach. Hand over all the raw material and have it automatically turned into whatever format and length is best for the public without you needing to think about it. Perfect. We'll plan for a one-click automation magic scenario.
Great. Any other questions? Oh, Martin, did you want to add anything?
Yes, I also want to say something for the selection of the clips that we are going to be sending out to the public. It will be better to take the most important aspect or the part that will really strike impact to the public. You should note that too, because sometimes we need to condense the information in such a way that it will carry the emotional impact and response we want. So we need to note that too.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. We'll definitely make sure that when we're automating those snippets, we're focusing on the most impactful and emotionally resonant moments. That way, you get the kind of response you're looking for from the audience without having to manually pick and choose. We'll factor that in as well.
Excellent. Yes, I really like that. I feel like there could be there's the raw data, right? So we have the raw data, the raw just pure, this is the session, this is everything that happened, this is the whole 9 yards, right? But then we also have summaries. So our summaries come together as our session summaries, and then we also have our daily summaries, and then that leads into our weekly summaries. So all of these summaries will be compiled together, and maybe it's once a week, maybe it's even once a month, that maybe we do something a little bit more professional to present sort of what's happened over the last week or what's happened over the last month. That it might even be video generated or something that's a little more presentable, that with words across it, just like something that can more convey than just the raw footage itself, to have something a little bit more generated for user experience. That's the bigger update overall. Yeah, and we could even try to coordinate an actual session presentation where we would do that. That's also a possibility. A little podcast update on everything.
Absolutely, that sounds like a great plan. So we'll incorporate that idea of layering in a more polished weekly or monthly summary, something that's a little more user-friendly and visually appealing, so that people get a nice overview without having to dive into all the raw data. And if you want to do a podcast-style update or a presentation session, we can definitely plan that in as well. It'll give everyone a nice polished snapshot of all the work you've done.
Great. Anything else, Martins? We're going to the next question.
All right, let's keep it rolling then. We'll move on to the next piece. Since we've got a good sense of how you want to handle summaries and automation, the next question is really about any specific timelines or milestones you have in mind. Do you have any particular deadlines or dates you want us to aim for as we roll out this automation and these updates? Let's pin that down next.
Well, so for the coalition, the main things would be, overall the co-op, we have our active sessions happening every Thursdays, and that's Andromeda Hour one. And then we're also starting the strike coalitions every Tuesdays. I think that's Cobalt. And so this next upcoming Tuesday would be a great opportunity to have at least something to practice with, but definitely within a week and a half or two to actually be able to start getting into the follow-ups. Like we really do need the follow-ups to be functional as soon as possible, because we have weekly sessions with the main sessions with the co-op, weekly sessions with the strike, monthly sessions with peace and other the crypto is going to be starting real soon too, with our launch of the token. So there's just a lot going on for the coalition, and we just want to be able to start connecting with the social media and people as soon as possible. Check.
Absolutely, that's really helpful to know. So it sounds like we'll want to aim for a quick turnaround. Ideally, getting those follow-ups and those snippets ready to go within about a week or two. That way, you've got everything in place by those upcoming Tuesday and Thursday sessions, and you can start pushing things out right away. We'll keep that timeline in mind and make sure we're on track to get you connected to social media as soon as possible.
Great. Anything else, Martins, or is next ready for next question?
All right, sounds like we're all set. If Martins is good to go, we can jump right into the next question. Let's keep the momentum going.
Awesome. Yeah, let's keep going. Next question.
All right, let's roll on to the next one. So we've got our timeline and goals pretty clear. The next question is just about any specific platforms or tools you absolutely want us to integrate with first. Is there a particular social media platform you want to prioritize, or a tool you already like using that we should put at the top of the list? Let's pin that down next.
So the one that's obviously the most important is going to be a automated blogging RSS feeds. How do we create automated systems of blogging that could also be related to email groups as well, but mainly just getting it online and getting it blogged. So this is the most complicated part in that we need to have the ability to do, let's just, at least starting with text, but really just text with anything. We can have links embedded in it for all of the other media systems, but including video and audio and all of the other stuff. So the key thing here is that we want, the easiest system is probably WordPress, because that seems to be what synchronizes with UMC's models. And so with WordPress would be having like layers of WordPress. So there's the communications layer that needs to be set up, so all of our communications are getting public, and then that would be one WordPress installation, and then we'd have a separate WordPress installation on a separate URL for the notes updates, and then we'd have a separate one for specifically the topic updates, and then we'd be getting into the session updates and the Octant updates, and then we'd have our daily updates, and then there would be the weekly updates would be basically the normal social media. So we'd have the normal social media with like normal once or twice a week updates, and then for people who want more information, they can get into the other media feeds, which includes our daily summaries and our other activities, including just like our raw communications, right? So we want those to be different parallel communication feeds, so that people don't get completely overwhelmed with the raw information, that we have the good information. So right now we're thinking that it would be once or twice a week updates to the public for the highest level, most pristine, like presentable summaries of information. But if you thought that it would be better to move that to every day, we could try that. But we were thinking about separating. We have the daily updates would be one channel for communication streams, and then we have the weekly updates, which would be a separate communication stream. But we could potentially combine those. So anyways, that's like the first most important thing, is just getting all of that automated and active.
Absolutely, that all makes a ton of sense. So we'll definitely focus on setting up those multiple WordPress layers so that you have those different communication streams. That way you can have your pristine weekly updates going out on one channel for the general public, and then keep all that daily and raw info in a separate channel for those who want the deeper dive. And of course, we'll work on automating that whole pipeline so that you don't have to think about it manually. We'll get that all set up and running.
Awesome. Yeah. So that sounds really good. I feel like, I feel like we just want to start creating these different streams in flows, and like as we get the streams going, then we can start connecting them to more and more locations. And so it's mainly just having on the web, having the main social media, so that we can start connecting that to our weekly updates and even daily updates, and then we can start evolving from there. So I think that's overall like what we want to do from there. Like the main things we also want to consider is we do text messaging, which is important to integrate if we can, and then we also do emails, right? So we do have a lot of email groups that we don't use that often, but mainly for just updates, to make sure that people are getting updates in case they don't go to the website, they can just see the email. And then also, obviously Facebook. We also like decentralized systems, so if we can have automated pushing our feeds to, Element, Mastodon, and specifically the other one is Blue Sky as well. That'd be great. And then I don't know, any other social media is good, but we should try to start somewhere. So it looks like I need to get going here, but why don't you just keep going, Martins?
They're not letting us leave till 9:15, even though we're like not doing anything.
Oh,
so.
Okay. So I still have like 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll see you at 9:15. I'll be there at 9:15.
What the fuck are we doing?
Wow. Okay. So.
Okay.
I still have a little more time. About 10 or 20 more minutes. So. Did you have anything to add, Martins, or should we hear what's up from Vibra?
It's just about, okay, before Vibra we talk, it's just about the platforms you're talking about. Well, I think it is also going to be good if we consider the major ones, because I'm just hearing about Amsterdam, I'm just hearing about the Blue Sky, like X is going to be.
Sure. X. Also, Instagram is huge. Obviously, Instagram is basically a subpart of Facebook, but it's huge. And then TikTok is also huge. If we can get TikTok going.
Telegram too is huge too. In fact, it's ensures want to have a private communication so that there will not be federal or government infringing on your privacy.
Yeah, but we're doing primarily and almost exclusively public communications, so. We don't want too much private stuff going on. But overall, people could do private as well, but it's just like we focus on the public communications. But overall, I feel like it's the main thing is just that we need to create a priority list of all of our top goals for doing, the social media. Just prioritize it. I think, obviously, Facebook is essential, Instagram, maybe X, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. But we also need to do just basic things like email, WordPress for RSS, and make sure we have a plan for dealing with text.
Big forums that people always get on board, like all these Reddits, like I think Quora or something. People are always there. People can start. They can make use of that platform too. Like dropping, like blog type of information there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we could also do a WordPress blog, vlog as well, like a podcast information. So that's definitely something we've set up before, but it didn't really go anywhere. So, anyways. Oh, and obviously YouTube. Oh my God, YouTube. We already do so much on YouTube. So much going on YouTube.
Will be amazing.
Yeah.
It's also help us to generate funds and everything. People.
Yes.
Time as a way of converting to funds for us.
We could also consider rebranding our Auth3 to Coalition, right? So right now the Auth3 account is under Activity. But maybe it would be better served as a Coalition Auth3, But I don't know. I don't know. We could do both. I don't know if they would be different, but it's like right now it's branded under Activity. All right. Anyways, let's hear from Vivra and see if Vivra has any input here. We've been talking for a while.
Absolutely. You've laid out a great list of priorities there. So just to sum up what I'm hearing, we'll focus on WordPress as the core for getting those automated blogs and different layers of updates going. And then we'll definitely integrate things like Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and absolutely YouTube for those video updates. And we can add decentralized platforms like Mastodon, Blue Sky, and so on as we go. And of course, we can think about rebranding that Auth3 account if that makes more sense under the Coalition brand. So yeah, that all sounds like a great roadmap. We'll just put together that priority list and start from there.
Martins, what do you think?
It sounds like we've got a really solid plan shaping up. We've got our priorities and a nice roadmap to follow, so if Martins is all set, we can definitely move forward from here. Just let me know if there's anything else on your mind or if we're good to wrap up the planning part.
Well, are there any other questions?
No.
Vivra, are there any other questions to ask for the interview?
I think we've covered all the big essentials for the intake. We've got your goals, your timelines, your platforms, and how you want to handle the content all laid out. So I'd say we're in a good spot. If anything else comes up, we can always tackle it as we go, but I think you're all set for now.
Well, I think you should definitely ask a question like, is there anything else you want to add? Are there any other ideas you have? Or just making sure that the client is able to, really share and express themselves, if there's other possible things that are important.
Absolutely. That's a great final question to wrap up with. So let's do that. Before we close out, is there anything else you'd like to add or any other ideas that you want to make sure we include in the plan? Feel free to share any last thoughts so we can cover everything that's important to you.
Nice. So the only other thing I thought that's just really important is that we'll be doing a lot of broadcasting and outreach and social media and snippets and all that. And we're probably going to end up with a lot of comments and communications. And so we really would also like to automate the follow-up of the comments and the responses from the public, and make sure that as we're communicating to the public, when the public responds, that we are automatically engaging with them and making sure that it's not just a dead end.
Absolutely. That's a really important piece to include. So we'll definitely add that to the plan. We'll make sure that we're not only automating the outgoing posts and updates, but also that we have a system in place to automatically engage with comments and responses from the public. That way, it's a two-way conversation and not just a one-way broadcast. Great addition, and we'll include that as well.
I think the only other part that we missed was like the actual, primary web page. I think we're looking at a multifaceted web page. We have our primary coalition.community, and then from there, there's like sub coalitions. So you have the Coalition for Decentralized Movement Organizing. You have the Coalition for the ending the cycle of societal abuse. You have the Strategy Coalition. You've got these layers of coalitions that are sort of like core components, and that the coalition.community website is sort of like the umbrella, and then it branches off into like basically the primary coalition branches, right? And then from there you have the primary brands of the coalition brands of like the Strike Coalition, the Co-op Coalition, the Peace Coalition, the Boycott Coalition, the Protest Coalition, the Crypto Coalition. So you have all these different main brands. So that is important to build out this website. I feel like that is more like a longer term. Like first we want the very simple website that can just be utilized for our social media landing, and then over time, over the next 6 months to a year, we really want to build out the whole website presence for all of the subcomponents and layers of interaction that the public can get involved with. Yeah, check.
Absolutely, that's a great addition. So we'll definitely factor in that the primary website is sort of the umbrella hub, and then over time we'll build out those subsections for all those different coalition branches, like the Strike Coalition, the Peace Coalition, and so on. We'll start simple for the social media landing, and then gradually expand that website into a more comprehensive, multi-layer platform over the next several months. That sounds like a great long-term roadmap, and we'll definitely include that in the plan.
Great. I think I'm good. Martins, anything else you want to add?
Awesome. Sounds like we've got everything covered then. If Martins is all set too, we're in a great spot. Thanks for running all of this, and we'll get started with everything we planned out.
All right, Martin. So I think if you don't have any other questions for Vivra,
I don't have any question for Vivra.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the voice off, and then we're going to work with Vivra on the text, because Vivra is going to now do the client profile, and then we're going to start writing the plan. Okay, sound good?
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Vivra. This was awesome. Really, really great.
You're very welcome. I'm glad we got all that sorted out and that it was helpful. I'll be here to help with the client profile and the plan next. Let's switch over to text and keep things moving along.
Epic. Okay, so now all we have to do is ask Vivra to write the client profile. So Vivra, can you now write the client profile for Coalition? And so now we're going to go into Coalition, and just do Coalition Multimedia. Boom, and then we can do the plan. So this is the UMC Multimedia Plan, UMC Coalition Multimedia Plan. All right, so here's the full client profile coalition based on the website data, intake, interview, and your automation framework. This vision can be stored in your UMC client sheet or as a format. Okay. Boom. So primary contact, intake date, agents assigned, overview, core mission, primary goals, target audience, message framework, multimedia strategy, automations, short-term deliverables, long-term vision, notes and considerations. Perfect. Oh, whoops. Okay, so this is the UMC client profile coalition brand. Perfect. So technically this is goes like that. So coalition.community is the website. And then we have these sub-coalitions. So the sub-coalitions, you have a coalition for decentralized movement organizing, coalition to end the cycle of societal abuse, the strategy coalition, All right, so those are like the main branches. And then we have primary contact, Discord. We have lots of Discords. Intake UMC, overview. So boom, boom, boom. And so we do have we have lots of Discords, Discords that we want to automate connecting to our website. Websites. All right, intake date. So this is really interesting that we need to get all these other agents involved in this whole process, right? Overview, coalition to centralized global movement hub, uniting protest strikes, boom, boom, boom. This is the goal. So this is perfect. Core mission, decentralized power. The brand allocates all this. Primary goals, launching by decentralized movements, build communications hubs, automate this. Boom. Establish 24/7 AI agent systems. Target audience. Messaging framework. Tone. Key. Wow, look, it already has keywords like that it's already using from our website and everything. And core narrative. The world's wealth and power are concentrated in the hands of a few thousand billionaires. Coalition connects all who stand against that imbalance, uniting movements across borders for peaceful and just planetary realignment. Multimedia strategy, WordPress, Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, video platforms, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Matrix, Discord. So these are more the decentralized. Discord is not decentralized. So I think we might have another, well, I guess Discord is similar to Matrix and stuff, so just we'll leave it there. Decentralized and other engagement networks. Email newsletter automation, perfect. Automation plans, beautiful. Short-term deliverables, long-term vision, notes and considerations, awesome. Would you like me to format this? No. Is there anything else to add to the client profile before we start the Coalition multimedia launch plan? Yes, your client session plan is already strong and complete. But before you do my plan, I'd recommend adding a few operational alignment things. So organizational verification, add a section confirming Coalition legal representation structure, Coalition channels, technical setup, value. Once those fields are added, the client profile becomes a complete operational record. Alright, so it says we should add a few other sections. Wait, what happened? Continuous improvement? No. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so let's go through these. So 11 is organizational verification. Add a section for in Coalition's legal representative structure. You can authorize decisions, sign documents, so they're nonprofit. So this is interesting. Communication channels, main contact, Discord, Telegram, cool. Content ownership and rights, very interesting. Oh yeah, this is very important for broadcasting everything. So our contracts for broadcasting and image and voice usage, super duper important. Okay, then we have brand visual identity, our logo. Very interesting. So currently right now we usually just use the Unity or community flag, right? So we'll have to play around with that. Technical setup status, approval protocol, value resource agreement. Awesome. All right, cool. So once those fields are added, would you like me to generate the final version of the Coalition client profile? No. Yeah, let's go to the launch plan. Let's go to the full Coalition multimedia launch automation launch. Okay. Oh, and let me go ahead and link this to the notes. So this is the client profile. In the notes here, line 152, client profile, and then I'll also link the new one, which is going to be the actual plan.
Okay, I'll check that. Inside our work organizing or UMC.
Yes, you should definitely put it in work organizing. Absolutely. Okay, so we seem to have lost everything here. Doesn't seem to be working. All right, so anyways, let's go ahead and just get going. I need to go. So if you want to wait for me, you can wait for me to come back. Or we can just stop now. Do you want to stop or do you want to wait?
Let's stop now. We can continue like or something.
When?
Are you okay with this? To continue with the plan, Hydra?
Hydra tomorrow? Well, yeah, just hit me up on Discord, okay? But I gotta get going, alright?
See you later.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Ciao. Bye.
Okay.